Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
Wednesday evening is when two National Guardsmen, Sarah Beckstrom, who's 20 years old, she's now deceased, and Andrew Wolf were attacked in an ambush-style shooting targeting the National Guard just a
few blocks from the White House.
Blocks from the White House.
West stop, that's 2 blocks, basically.
And the attacker is 29-year-old Ramanullah Lakhanwal. Background. He is an Afghan national who entered the U.S. in 2021 under humanitarian parole following the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. He had collaborated reportedly with the CIA as a member of a partner force in Kandahar
province. One of our beloved allies who love America and freedom.
Yes. And then he resided in, so apparently he applied for asylum December 2024. Which was approved April 23rd, 2025.
So they're saying like the Trump administration approved this. I believe it's asylum judges who evaluate these for the most part.
He resided in Bellingham, Washington, which is basically, it's on the border of Canada. And he drove 40 hours across the country to carry out this attack. And then all hell breaks loose after that. Go ahead, Blake.
And on top of that, we should add he has a wife and 5 children who shall be your burden to bear for the rest of time.
Because of course.
And so, all hell breaks loose. He conducts this attack, and this is happening really right after the show on Wednesday. And email us, Freedom at Charlie Kirk, if you were following this or if this is all news to you, if you were checked out for the holiday. So what really happens is, what's incredible is President Trump reacts very sharply to this.
Very strongly.
He gives some remarks. He gives some remarks that night, but what was especially telling was the Truth Social post he made. Was it that night or the following day?
It was the following day.
The following day. So
actually, technically, it was, I think, later that night.
Yeah, let's just. I want to read this because it's actually just quite a barn burner of a statement. I won't read the whole thing, but I want to read most of it.
I was pulling up the most important portion of it.
I think we should I'll blitz through it really quick. A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. The official U.S. foreign population stands at 53 million people, most of which are on welfare from failed nations or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. Let's skip ahead a bit. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America, something that did not exist after World War II, with failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. As an example, and he calls out the story we covered a bunch last week, the Somali fraud stuff that Chris Rufo covered. He says, in the state of Minnesota, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia, it's about 80,000 total, but it's Trump, are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somali gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping they will be left alone. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota. I was
curious if we're gonna self-censor ourselves.
He says that the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congresswoman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, who probably came into the U.S. illegally, and that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain. Goes on longer, and then he concludes, only reverse migration can fully cure this situation.
Well, so here's where he goes down his policy endorsements. So he says, I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover. I will terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country. He will end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country. That's a huge one that probably hasn't gotten enough attention. Denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization.
And then,
and then reverse migration. So now all hell breaks loose. The rest of the weekend is basically a back and forth debate about the merits of this. And I had a prediction. I called the shot early in the morning, and we're going to have Rich Barris on at the top of hour 2 to see if I was right. But I said this will be probably the most controversial. I think that's safe to say. The left-wing media is going to lose its mind. They've already proven that over the ensuing days. But this will be broadly very popular with American people of all backgrounds, by the way. It's not just a white thing. It's not just a European descent thing. If you are here legally, if you are a law-abiding citizen and you're sick of seeing the country get taken advantage and overrun, you are going to love this policy.
And it's already the case that if you're a foreigner, you're not supposed to be here if you're a public charge. And we routinely don't care about enforcing that.
We've just stopped enforcing laws in general. We've just stopped having standards in general.
It really was it was a true case, frankly, of you could either have laws or you could kind of feel mean sometimes enforcing laws, which I'll be frank, we have no problem doing that for all sorts of other laws. Fun fact, did you know that families are separated when we arrest a murderer or a gangbanger and put them in prison? A lot of those guys have kids. Some of them have wives. A lot of them have family members. They freak out. We put them away because it is for the good of the country and for society. Mm-hmm. And we can do the same thing with our immigration policy.
Well, and I think it's important because the liberal freak out. And so here's what I also said, I predicted, is the liberal freak out is going to be predominantly from white progressives. And I think that is mostly proving true. But there's voices of all shades coming out against this, but they're all Democrats, and it's all relatively predictable stuff.
Well, and an Indiana senator, a Republican, says he's not going to vote for redistricting because Trump said the word retarded.
Yes, and that turns out that same Indiana senator's wife is getting certain contracts. He's also been
probably not the real reason.
Been guilty of a DUI. All sorts of things. Well, let's just play a smattering here now of people blaming President Trump for the shooting, which kicked this whole weekend off. Let's go ahead and we'll say Al Sharpton because he's always fun. 1-1-1.
Two people fighting for their lives, guardsmen, that this president put there. And as I said, I was one that was very vocal against that.
He's very vocal against that. Here's Rep. Wasserman Schultz blaming Trump as well. 1-10.
Would an individual have flown across the country to target law enforcement officers in Washington, D.C.? And, the answer is likely no. So why wasn't the president's first thought, wow, maybe I should reconsider deploying military troops in the nation's capital or in any city?
Now, reminder, the National Guard has been largely very successful in its deployments. Crime is down. They are a peacekeeping force. They are not out there pointing guns in people's faces. It's simply, it's the same.
It was
impact.
A purely symbolic act.
Yes.
It was just, he wanted to attack American soldiers, and this was a high-profile way for him to do it.
1,000%. And by the way, this guy was working with the CIA. And this is what gets me, actually, when I think about this. Listen, there are some good Afghan people that worked loyally. My brother was deployed to Afghanistan and says very nice things about some of them, says some not so nice things about others. But basically what the litmus test was, well, listen, if you're going to accept CIA cash and betray your own homeland and work with an invading force, then we are going to reward you by bringing you over here with no strings attached.
And all five of your kids.
Yeah, and you can all have 500 kids and live on the public dole. It's getting the logic is just astounding, and I think Americans are getting very, very fed up with having our country overrun and ripped off. That's why it will be popular.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel. Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.